Mm, 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 mm. Going Universe, welcome to another episode of Zoobox Goes to the Movies. I am joined again by Big Paul. What's up, Big Paul?
Yo,
Today we're going to be talking about the 1993, some would say classic movie, Demolition Man. Stars Sylvester Stallone, Wesley Snipes, Sandra Bullock, Benjamin Bratt, Dennis Leary, Bob Gunton, Glenn Shaddix, what's his name?
Rob Schneider.
Rob Schneider, that's right. And this is, what birthed the duo film, their buddy cop movie of Judge Dredd a few years later.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that? Do you remember that Rob Schneider is like the main co-star of Judge Dredd?
Yes, he is.
That's actually also on Hulu. And I started it the other day, and then my son, who's like 3.5 years old, just started freaking out. He was like, no. And I already made him watch Demolition Man, so I figured I'd give him a break. But it's directed by Marco Brambilla. What's that?
Such a good dad. Yeah.
I really am. I'm helping him out here. Because when I saw Demolition Man, I didn't get to see it until I was like 7, because it didn't come out until 93, and I was born in 86. So he's ahead of the curve, baby. He's ready to go. We watched Tango and Cash the other day.
Oh.
I got him on camera saying Tango and Cash rocks. Yeah. The film is directed by Marco Brambilla. This is his first directorial effort. He was mostly music videos, commercials. He only did one other movie after this movie. A couple years later, he did the Alicia Silverstone movie, Excess Baggage. Do you remember that?
I remember that blockbuster.
Oh, what's his name? Is it Benicio del Toro? I think he was like a very young Benicio del Toro, and Alicia Silverstone, because she was, she coming off the hotness that was
Batman Forever.
No, that was Batman and Robin, but it was Clueless. This actually was probably started spelling out the beginning of the end of Alicia Silverstone, because this comes out, I think, the same year Batman and Robin comes out. So that's like a double hit of failure.
Yeah. Well, not on her part, obviously.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe Alicia Silverstone just can't like anchor a sincere movie. Like she can't, like Clueless, it works. Like you understand like why that is considered like a good performance. It's because it's so within her range, her ability, it just matches the tone of the movie.
Yeah.
And then you try to put her like in a serious romantic like drama with a young, brooding Benicio del Toro.
Yeah. Guess I thought that game.
I saw it back in the day. But that's all he's ever done. These are the only 2 movies this guy has ever made. He mostly does like art installations and stuff like that now. I guess he got afraid, and actually he gets this part because of David Fincher, who the same year filmed his first movie, Alien 3, which was a giant fucking mess, and he actually wanted his name taken off the movie. It was a horrible experience for him. But for somehow, because he was also a music video director, that's how David Fincher got his start. He knew this dude. He suggested that he direct Demolition Man to the producers. Little fun factoid for you, everybody.
I didn't see that one.
Yeah. What else could we say? It was in kind of development hell for like 6-7 years. Like the original script is from like the mid 80s. The producer Joel Silver, who was like the It's guy producer for the era. Like he produced like all the Lethal Weapon movies. He produced The Predator. He produced like every cool action movie from like the 1982 up to like The Matrix. It's a Joel Silver production. He's like a very hands-on producer as well.
Mm-hmm.
So he was also involved. He got the story. He had it rewritten a bunch of times, and now we have what we have today. The original cast of the movie was Steven Seagal and Jean-Claude Van Damme. Jean-Claude Van Damme fucked that up, though, because he said, I don't want to play a villain. He wouldn't play villains back in the day. Mm-hmm. He had this thing about his image and about him being like a good role model for kids and stuff. I mean, when you smoke crack, you don't do it on camera.
No.
Do it off camera.
No, but the perception of integrity is really what's important. But and continue, please.
Yeah, and he tried to get the producers to swap the roles. He's like, well, if Steven Seagal will be the bad guy, I'll be the good guy. I'll be John Spartan, and then I'll be in the movie. And Steven Seagal wouldn't go for it. That ends up falling apart. And then when Sylvester Stallone gets involved, he actually tries to get Jackie Chan to be Simon Phoenix, which I thought was such a weird. But like, because you see Wesley Snipes.
Awesome Jackie Chan as Phoenix would be, though. Just think of how awesome that would be.
Oh, the movie would just be completely different. It would not be the same movie. Like Wesley Snipes, like sets the tone of this movie so concretely. Like he kind of creates what the movie feels like to a certain degree, right? If Jackie Chan would have played it completely straight, like he would have just been a bad guy. But Jackie Chan actually wouldn't do it for the same reasons Jean-Claude Van Damme. Yeah.
No, he wanted to had another positive image in the West. So
which is
we all know he was the bad guy in oh my God, Bruce Lee, Enter the Dragon.
Oh, it's not Enter the Dragon. It's I know what you're talking about. He's
in Enter the Dragon.
He's in Jackie Chan's in Enter the Dragon?
But one of the bad guys Enter the Dragon that goes and attacks his sister and kills his friend.
It's not Game of Death?
No.
Okay, fair enough. I'll take your word for it.
Oh, you fucking better.
I got those suspicious eyes. But yeah, so I think that would have been super interesting. And apparently, like they had a sequel, like kind of in the works in the mid '90s, and that was their plan, was to try to get Jackie Chan to come back. Because I mean, back then, it's kind of weird that Jackie Chan even would turn this down, like 1993, because he was not huge in America. Like he tries to come to America in the early '80s. They don't really know what to do with him.
Right.
Then he goes back to China and then makes probably his best movie, which I've only actually really gotten into over the past couple of years, is the original Police Story, which is what we in America, we had remember Super Cop?
Yeah.
That's Police Story 3. Like in China. Okay. So the first one is actually still kind of holds up to this day, having a lifetime of watching Jackie Chan movies and then going all the way back to like the early 80s for Police Story. Mm-hmm. Fucking rad. That's a really great movie. It's like perfect Jackie Chan movie. Because it's funny, the stunts are awesome, like the pacing is great, it feels the fight, like the choreography is out of this world. It's a young Jackie Chan too, so he could really, because by the time he comes to America, he's in his late 40s, like, so he's already hurting. By the time he makes Rumble in the Bronx, like he's already getting hurt because he's jumping off of buildings.
In their late 40s in this film, Demolition Man.
Stallone,
47, baby.
Yeah, and he's in such ridiculously good shape. For those of you at home, I can't show you this because we're on YouTube and stuff. But
such a pity.
I totally got Paul's ass. We were talking over over Messenger about the about you could see, like, it's pretty explicit, the freezing scene, right? Like you could see, like, you actually like see his balls and his like taint and his asshole almost. And then I just was, as a joke, I was thought, like, I'm sure somebody's like screenshotted that. I'll just type that in. Apparently there's a deleted scene where he's just standing there in his full glory.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta say, I was impressed. All around. Yeah. Obviously probably dehydrated to get that cut, get that look.
Yeah.
But
big time.
He hangs down. He's a short guy though. This is the masterful trick of it. He's very thin. He's in a good shape. So that's going to enhance our perception of the dong size,
Well, yeah, and not a hair on the body too, you know what I mean? But I mean, I'm not trying to hate on, work beauty. So you already know my stance on Stallone. God gives to the world and his symbolism of posterity for the universe, what man is. So sound like Stallone. If he sounded like Hetfield from Metallica, then that he would have the man from the 1990s, the ultimate man. Well, Stallone's fine, Hetfield's voice.
Demolition Man is like his second hit in a long time. Like he makes this right after Cliffhanger. You ever seen Cliffhanger?
A long time ago with you.
Yeah. So that was him coming off of a string of like failures, like big kind of high profile failures. He was like a diva in the 80s. Like after he wins like his Oscar for Rocky and stuff, like apparently he's very difficult to work with. Most movies he was on, like they would go through like 2 directors at the minimum. He was constantly firing people on the set because he was always a producer and he had a lot of control. Mm-hmm. So when you would sign on to direct like a Stallone movie, You were kind of just there to like make sure you got what you needed to get done during the day.
Right.
Stallone is really the one that's like calling all of the shots.
Right.
You know? And he was kind of known for being a little like unprofessional in a sense, where he'd be like, "No, you're not working. See ya."
Damn.
Like, I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen it, but you know the movie Tango and Cash. It's Stallone and Kurt Russell, and they're kind of like, and they're cops. I actually just saw it like a couple weeks ago. It's the first time I ever saw it. But
I never watched that one.
that,
we know we got a little insight too. Maybe it's like a family trait, right? Because his brother's also in the business too.
he is, yeah, Frank.
Yeah, Frank Stallone.
We have seen perform live several times.
Yeah, at Eddie's Sports Bar in Anchorage, Alaska.
There you go. There's your plug. Official sponsors. U-Box goes to the movies if they're still around. Yeah, Frank Stallone was in a couple movies too. Mm-hmm. He showed up in a couple movies, but on Tango and Cash, like there's 4 credited directors, like 4 directors on that movie. One of them being Stallone, and then the studio just takes the movie away because they're like, this is out of control. Yeah. And then they just did a cut themselves and just dumped it into theaters. But yeah.
Well, I feel like you should do the log line.
A police officer is brought out of suspended animation in prison to pursue an old, ultra-violent nemesis who is loose in a non-violent future society. That's the logline plot synopsis from old IMDb. They like to keep it short. They like to keep it tight.
Yeah. They don't like to give anything away. I just wanted to like, I never read the log lines because like you're going to do it. And I'm always like, really? That's how they framed it?
Yeah, some of them you're like, it's so vague. It could be almost about any movie.
Right.
So let's get actually before we do that, what are we drinking?
So we started getting the spirit of Phoenix's character.
Oh, no pun intended. No pun intended. You said spirit, that's why.
Yeah, all the clear liquids, and then Taco Bell being the sole winner of the franchise wars.
Yeah.
We figured, why don't we get something that goes along with the theme of the Taco Bell and drink tequila tonight? So I don't know. Well, primarily a rye whiskey guy, so I know what to get, but I don't know. But I had this little 2-thing silver tequila. I don't know if there's a gold tequila or some shit, but this is what I have. So
I feel like in the hierarchy of tequilas, the gold ones are always, or the silver ones are always slightly more expensive. So I feel like that is the better. It has to be the better quality, the cleaner one.
Let's go with that then.
Yeah, that's what I say. I am like Paul. I very rarely stray. Like, I mean, lately I've been going and checking out all these new ryes and stuff, and Paul will suggest things, and I'll go try those out. But it's mostly, well, actually, it's 100% just whiskey. This is the first time I've had tequila, and I got this stuff called 21 Seeds, cucumber jalapeno infused with other natural flavors, handcrafted from Mexico. Jalisco, Mexico.
All right.
Yeah. So, yeah, and I was going to get Patron because I was like, I know Patron's safe. I've had Patron before. And I was thinking, I was talking to my wife. I was like, I don't know if I've ever like just sat and like sipped tequila.
This will be my first time too, because we bought this a few summers ago to make margaritas or some shit. Now I never sipped on it like I sip bourbon or something.
Yeah, well, this one I did a little sprucing. I will say this: it's very clean because I had a glass before we got on. It's very clean. You can actually taste the cucumber comes through, like kind of that light, almost kind of like watery taste of a cucumber. You know, that freshness of a cucumber actually comes through really well, and you have that little heat of the jalapeno. It actually feels like it's there, like identifiably. It's not just something like it's on a label and they're like, and you're like, oh, I can feel these synthetic flavors. Like, no, it actually feels pretty legit. And I thought it was fun, and then I threw some limes in there.
Oh, okay. Shit.
Which is not something I ever do. I am a very much just like neat whiskey dude.
Yeah, so it's been the first time I'm doing it neat though, but just like most anything, after you get to the first glass, it's like
yeah, your palate kind of like gets used to it, and it's fine.
Or like when we did 84, and I'm like, hey, in the spirit of that, let's get some gin. And
yes.
But that gin I got, that was infused with some other shit. No jalapenos, but I had, not cucumbers either, but like other shit.
Wasn't it like a fruit infusion or something like that?
Yeah. It was like that. And then, but even after one glass, like, all right, well, it's getting the job done, but it's just,
Well, there's a thickness to this stuff. Like you can
yeah.
feel like the syrup, and I think part of that is like because with tequila at least, you put it in the freezer. Tequila is much better cold than it is like room temperature at least in my experience.
Okay. Well, this is pretty much room temperature and not bad drinking on its own.
Not too bad. Cool.
Yeah, I just never sat down and drink it neat before.
Very nice. See, I was prepared. I have this hot cold Zubbox cup here.
Ooh.
So oh, this is a custom made. Actually, Sarah got this for me for Christmas. That was pretty nice of her. Somebody she works with makes like custom cups as like a side business.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. One day we'll have them out there mass marketed,
Yeah. I'll expect mine in the mail.
We could probably do that. We'll get you one. We'll get you an honorary one.
Oh, fuck yeah.
You gotta send me your power zoo animal.
Oh, I'll talk to Sarah offline.
Okay.
Right.
So yeah, let's get back to the matter at hand. Demolition Man, 1993, Stallone versus Snipes. Listen, I grew up with this movie. I watched it a lot when I was a kid. It was probably one of like 10 VHS tapes that were in my house.
Like, how many times have we watched this one together? Like in the late 90s?
I have to say, we probably watched it like at least like 5 times together. At least it being on in the room or something. Because when you're a kid, and also we lived in a different world.
Yeah.
You didn't have streaming services. You didn't have all this crazy shit. So a lot of times, Paul and I would just rewatch the movies that I owned.
Yep.
So if I owned it, I'd bring it over to Paul's house or he'd come sleep over, and that's what we would watch. Like, our parents weren't very wealthy. It's not like we were going to the fucking Blockbuster every other day whenever we wanted, even though we definitely, our families were definitely movie renters. Yep. But like, yeah, so we would just rewatch the same movies all the time.
People like go to that, like in the the sleepover bag, or we're going somewhere, like we just always grab it and
yeah.
We don't know what we're going to do, but that will be an option to pick. Then we're going to be in there. We're going to get Demolition Man.
Yeah. I mean, because it's almost, I don't know if this is a good movie or not. I have a really hard time separating myself from just, it's like part of my DNA of like being a kid. But I tried to watch it with the most critical eye I possibly could this time, just because we were talking about it. And I think it's like a solid movie. I wouldn't say it's like a great movie. I wouldn't even say it's Stallone's best movie, but it has a style to it. And there's a lot of interesting things about it.
Mm-hmm. So when was the last time you watched this one?
Oh, probably 4 or 5.
It was like before I even joined the military. Like
really?
Little kids, yeah.
Oh, wow.
I have not seen this since, since the late 90s.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was a long time ago. Okay, well, I mean, last time I watched was like 4 or 5 years ago. Demolition Man is something I watch like every couple of years. I'll see it on like Netflix or HBO or whatever, and I'll be like, oh, cool, Demolition Man. I'm bored. Watch it again. So what did you think coming back?
The years then, and then recently.
What did you think coming back to it, like after all this time?
Well, I loved it.
Yeah.
I think I love it more now than I did when I was a kid. Just kind of like a lot of things that we revisit, there's something that you definitely don't appreciate, like all the the fascism shit and stuff like that. Completely flies over your head, right? You're just going there at the surface. And then I got to think about it, and then I went to the same type of overthinking tangent, like I did it, like Miracle on 34th Street, like you just like, well, is this film like really a satire on like the Macho Man from the 90s? Because in the early 90s, there's a big like PC like push, political correctness push for like everything, was it even freaking Bill Maher did a whole bit on this like last Friday, right? Like the trope generation, blah blah blah. But like that was like really prominent. There's like a big conversation around the time, early 90s and stuff about what's going on, a lot of commentary. You had the like the Alanis Morissette feeling everything, all different types of. That was another film, but there's like when we did like the Fight Club bit, but there was just like there's a lot of commentary on like what a male should be and how a male should be.
Yeah,
stuff like that, and just kind of watching now, it's just almost like a blatant satire. And now you take that and like 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 what came around that same time frame, relatively speaking, within a couple of years, right? You had like Last Action Hero, you had all this other shit going on at that time when it came out there, and like are you like giving them like too much credit for the satire and thought pieces that they're putting in there in the subtext of this film, right? Or are you just kind of like overstretching it? But like what my takeaway going through this is just enjoying it and thinking about it like in that way that is satire both of masculine and male in society, a lot of commentary on society from the 90s, that point of view, and then what it could be like in a future like a dystopian type of area where you go the extreme opposite, right? And so it both kind of like parallels like the transition state before Spartan gets frozen to like when it gets defrosted, right? And like where they're at, and then you're like the big takeaways is very poetic and pointed. I don't know, somewhere in the middle. So,
I know. I love. Yeah, they give him like this a chance to be philosophical or something, and he just gives the perfect Stallone meathead answer.
Right. Neanderthal from the 20th, right? So that's how it's going to go. But it's so profound. So there. Right?
No, I think it's something where the satire is definitely intentional. Like, one of the things that tips my hat to that is Daniel Waters, the writer, is the guy who wrote. He worked with Tim Burton a lot. Have you ever seen the movie Heathers?
No.
Christian Slater and what's her name? The girl from Beetlejuice. Winona Ryder. Winona Ryder. But that's like a proto. You've seen the movie Mean Girls, right?
Yes.
Okay, so it's like the 80s version of Mean Girls, except way better and way more hard edged, and that's a deeply satirical movie as well. And he also wrote the script for Batman Returns. But like, so he's kind of got that like dark, like subversive kind of element to the script, which obviously they changed, they augmented, they lightened it up a little bit. It's not like as overt. Like the satire is definitely there. It's just not the focus. It's world building stuff. It's texture stuff. Which, to the credit of this movie, it pays attention to a lot of like the small details of the world. Like you get a good sense of like kind of what the world is actually like and the types of people that live in the world by kind of very minor interactions with other characters that aren't either police officers or the bad guys, right? Like, so you get like an actual flavor of the kind of culture they live in, like from listening to show tunes or even show tunes, listening to old commercials, the Oscar Mayer Wiener song,
right?
To the guy who's at the ATM or whatever, like having a panic attack when it's when Snipes gets out, and you remember when he fights all the cops, right? He's like at the ATM booth or whatever. The guy that's there in line, like before him, is like crying to the computer about his problems, and then the computer is just like, "Oh, you're a kind, sensitive man, and people appreciate you." And he's like, "Thank you, I really needed that." Like, there's a lot of like little touches like that all over the movie. Also, one of my favorite parts of the movie is when they go to fucking Taco Bell. And this is a weird thing to be my favorite part. Is when the guy is singing the Jolly Green Giant on the piano. He's like. It's a great arrangement of that song. I'm just saying. But yeah, it's so much stuff like packed into it. Like it's got a lot to pay attention to if you so desire. Like you can watch it on a very surface level. Hey, it's a cool Stallone action movie. It's funny in places. It's got some good set pieces. But there's actually a lot of thoughtful stuff. It's way more thoughtful than I think the average like action movie goer would expect out of it.
Right. No, absolutely. But just even like even though like so when what ends up giving John Spartan the deep freeze like sentence, blowing up that warehouse, right? Just completely ridiculous 1980s-esque like type.
Dude, it's my favorite part of the movie actually. The music, which I gotta just point out, Elliot Goldenthal does the score for this. It is one of my favorite movie scores, and I don't know. I know you're probably not as familiar with it. You know the movie Batman Forever. He did the score for Batman Forever, and he basically ripped off his own score for Demolition Man and Batman Forever. Like a lot of the music cues are exactly the same. Oh, but dude, when Stallone is like in the helicopter and he fucking jumps out on the bungee cord, like it's the dumbest shit ever, and it's the most awesome shit ever.
Yeah.
Like I want to see the movie where John Spartan is hunting down fucking Simon Phoenix in burnt out like 1996 LA. Like that's actually the movie I would almost rather see to a certain extent, because I love the way that looked, like the aesthetic of it. It's so like dark and cool and fucking cheesy one-liners galore, and Wesley Snipes is like dressed like fucking Beetlejuice and having a great time. And
yeah, and then it was Dennis Rodman that little fun fact. I watched Demolition Man twice on opening day. Then immediately went to go dye his hair blonde.
Yeah. Which is funny because Snipes hated it so much he shaved his head immediately after he rapped. Like the day he rapped, he shaved his head.
We talk how awesome Snipes is.
Oh, dude. I mean, I've always been like growing up, like Wesley Snipes was always like the coolest dude in the world. I mean, between Demolition Man and Blade, even Passenger 57, The Fan, Rising Sun, the one he did with Connery. I don't know if you've ever seen that. It's actually came out the same year this did. Yeah, I've always thought Wesley Snipes was just like the coolest dude. And this one is like one of he's basically plays like the Joker. Mm-hmm. He's like that kind of character, right? Like you could see like a version of a cartoony Batman where Wesley Snipes is the Joker.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But I think with his type of like loonish, it just really fit with the style of like, this film. And like, he even when he was cheesy, like those lines when they're going back, you forgot Simon Says, I forget my head if it wasn't attached, but he still says it. He still delivers that cheesy line with this freaking Wesley Snipes badassery. Like,
yeah. I love it, dude.
Cheesy, he's still awesome.
I mean, credit to it's the person that gave them the idea, because originally the movie was gonna open with them being awakened in the future. Mm-hmm. And it was this other guy, Fred Drecker, who directed this movie called The Monster Squad. And he was kind of a writer in the 80s, worked on a lot of stuff. He worked on some of the Lethal Weapon scripts a little bit. And he worked on some RoboCop stuff. Yeah. But he was just like, hey, man, he's like, if you don't show Kansas, then Oz is not cool. Like, then you don't care. So you got to see these guys before. You got to establish their relationship and their time. And, dude, when fucking Stallone busts into that room, it's like the most like epic, like macho dude bullshit scene ever. Like, I just love it. Like, it encapsulates an entire tone, an entire feeling, an entire genre, like in a fucking moment, like in a 5-minute sequence. And Snipes just kills it from the get-go, dude. Like, I love he's like gets so excited he starts dancing and shit. Mm-hmm. And then with the way when he lights the cigarette with the torch. Oh, that's one of my favorite lines. He's like, you better watch out, Spartan. Set your ass on fire. Yeah, it's great. It's great. It's great, like just like iconic movie stuff. Like, it's not realistic. It exists outside of like our realm of anything, and it only can exist because of a history of actually kind of 80s action movies. Right. Like, because it's like this, like Demolition Man almost feels like in a lot of ways like a culmination of even like Stallone's career up to that point, like being Rambo, being like, doing stuff, Cobra, like doing stuff like that, like where he was like this cheesy action star.
Yeah. And like that's that but too, it's just like where Stallone is parodying himself and everybody else like in there, right? But more so like himself, really. That too. Like,
yeah, I think the concept,
talk about like the Schwarzenegger library, right? It's like, what president? What? The only other, it made me think like the only other person that could probably pull this role and still make that same type of movie would probably be Schwarzenegger.
Well, it's the same year. Last Action Hero comes out, which is Schwarzenegger's version of that, right? Which I've always had a soft spot for at Last Action Hero, but even in that, he takes a dig at, or not a dig at Stallone. There's a Stallone joke in there because he takes him and this kid. The kid's like trying to prove to Schwarzenegger that Jack Slater is a movie, so he takes him to a Blockbuster, and one of the cardboard cutouts is for Terminator 2 Judgment Day, except it's Stallone on the motorcycle and not Schwarzenegger. And he's like, "That's you. That's supposed to be you. You were in Terminator 2." He's like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "That's Stallone's greatest role, his best performance." Yeah, because they had like a friendly rivalry where they like wouldn't be in a movie together for a long time, but they were friends, and then they both become business partners with like with Bruce Willis. They all opened Planet Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
One of the locations apparently had the cryo frozen Stallone from this.
Oh yeah,
and you could see it in its full glory.
No.
And people are like, I'm over here getting my fucking mozzarella sticks. I look up and I say, oh, look at Stallone's asshole.
What I'm talking about. Maybe we'll go there for treat ourselves one Chipotle Day.
Actually, that would be awesome. Yeah, go to every still standing Planet Hollywood location. I don't even know if that's a thing anymore, if that's a place anymore. But
we'll find it. Yeah, no, we should definitely find it. But I mean, you want to get into like that the future world a little bit too, like
of course, yeah,
everything, and like, I just thought I just like all these other like future dystopian type of things we read, like it's it's not like Brook Right, but man, that's where we're headed. That's actually where we're headed. It's so scary close to that. But what really got me this time watching it was the no physical contact, right? And obviously in the wake of everything that's going on right now, 6 social distancing, blah blah. But it was like that one scene still within the first 30 minutes of the film where Snyder and Benjamin Bratt's character, and they're getting excited because the cops are about to approach Simon for the first time. They found him since the first like kill death murder in 17 years or some shit. They go down and they're both doing the hardest air 5 in the history of air 5s. Like
yeah.
They're like,
no, but that's like it's like one of these beautiful little touches on the movie. Like, and the movie is full of moments like that.
All over the place.
Yeah, like whenever somebody approaches somebody, they're like mellow greetings. Like they can't even be aggressive, being like, "Hey, how's it going?"
Was it enhance your calm or some shit? Like,
yes.
Whoa,
I love it when because they're all watching, because that's one of the cool things they kind of set up about this universe is that violence has become such an abstract concept that they don't even conceive of the idea that this is gonna go poorly. It's gonna be bad, or they don't even understand to be afraid.
Mm-hmm.
Like they think I love Sandra Bullock in this movie, by the way. She's like the secret MVP because she's another tone setter and she just nails it. She nails the kind of movie she's in. Same thing, Benjamin Bratt. He also is fantastic in the little that he has to do in this movie, but he's super funny. Like it's super in line with the world that they exist in. It's like the verisimilitude is excellent. But they're all giddy and they're all like, yes, we're gonna get Simon Phoenix. And then it's the peace officers or whatever, and he's got the fucking the screen that tells him how to arrest somebody. And he's like, he didn't answer, he did not he was not affirming. He's being really rude or something. And they're like, well, say it again, but say
or else.
Yeah, or say or else, yeah. Which is another one of my favorite scenes is actually the museum sequence, like that whole sequence. So when Wesley Snipes goes in,
what's my boggle?
Yeah, my boggle. He has got the greatest fucking delivery in that scene. My boggle. And then it's full of all of these great these characters they're talking to no one. They talk to themselves all the time to say cool shit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the movie starts with Stallone jumping out of a helicopter saying, "Catch a maniac," or "Send a maniac to catch a maniac," to himself.
Right.
It's so good.
It's like I said, it had to be intentional that they were thinking that they were making something badass. That has got to be satire.
I think some of it has. I think some of it's indicative of the time as well. That's how those movies were. And it's also a way to recap plot stuff. Like Wesley Snipes, right before he's about to go into the sewer, literally recaps his intentions as a character. He's like, okay, I got to go down here and kill this Edgar Friendly guy. He's not going to be ready for me. Edgar Friendly, prepare you to meet Simon Phoenix. And he jumps in the sewer. He's not talking to anybody. He's talking to himself. But it's great. I have such a strong affection for it. It does not bother me at all.
Not at all. And especially if it did bother you, then his rah 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 speech to the 6 other felons unfrozen from the times. The speech that gives him to go off to kill Edgar. If that doesn't get you pumped, I don't know what will. Sorry, real quick. It's because he's telling them what the year is. So it's okay, so you got 6 of these people all been frozen for at least 36 years, like the rest of them, right? Maybe some longer, right? And so, but they're just immediately all there. They got like these like like these like sewer bitches like they're like with them. They're all like, yeah, we're at a table, we're drinking beers, and it's like, all right, real quick, the year is 2032. It's like they just go straight to give me. Let's get to
it's like this fucking rules, dude. Yeah.
And then like what? But the scene is though that he's like, year is 2032. That's 2032. He's like, and the world is a bunch of pussies. Like,
well, yeah, because he gives like the supervillain, like he's giving a speech to his cadre of supervillain buddies, and that is actually, I think, if I have a major, like my most major criticism of the movie, other than the fact that the concept itself is full of holes, like the idea of like why are they freezing prisoners? Why are they defrosting them? Why would even Cocteau think that awakening Simon Phoenix would be and give him every skill imaginable would not backfire on him? Like, but
yeah, right. Because there's a couple of things with it, right? So, like, well, first, like the rehabilitation show I'm watching, like, what they just get like frozen out just the way they were prior to going? How's that rehabilitation?
No, but that's what it's like. That's like
a find out the program all that shit into them, right? But like you think about the hubris of a guy like Cocteau, where he like pussified a whole like the San Angeles community, right? Where he's used to being the smartest person in the room wherever he goes, every room he's going. So maybe like the hubris was the obviously the detriment, his downfall or whatnot. But you'd think though he should have had enough awareness because of the times, because he like will tell everybody in that Taco Bell restaurant scene like how terrible, chaotic the world is. So he should have known better. But yeah, I'd agree that it's definitely a plot hole too, but it also is in alignment with the arrogance of his character, especially.
But I think like even just to kind of piggyback what I said before, if I was to be like really charitable to his character, like these people are so detached from the reality of like 1996. They don't like understand like really what a criminal like that is like. It's been so long. Right. Although, and that's another criticism of the movie. This movie only takes place 36 years after they get frozen. A lot has changed in the world in 36 years, like a lot. And I was like, because always, for me, I was always just like, why wasn't this like 200 years in the future? Like, why is it 36 years? I think part of that is because the original story had Stallone meeting his daughter, and they actually filmed those scenes. They just cut him out of the movie. She's like one of the people that lives in the sewers, apparently.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. So when they're actually in the sewer scene, and Snipes and his guys start shooting at them, and he goes to protect a woman, that was his daughter.
No kidding.
Yeah, but they cut it out of the movie because they were just like, it's like confusing, and then people were like upset because they're like, because Sandra Bullock became like a surrogate daughter in a certain sense, and they were weirded out by it because of the age disparity.
Yeah, so, she was 29 at the time of this film.
Yeah, so audiences were just like, oh well, if they felt disconcerted that she would be like a romantic interest if he has a daughter the same age, which I thought was a weird thing, but to draw that parallel, like just off the bat, but that's what test audiences said. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. It is Hollywood, and they're all perverts, so maybe there's something onto them. Weirder things have got the green light, like they're called 34th Street with all that pedo grooming. Another podcast. I'm sorry.
These Hollywood types, you can never trust.
A silver tequila.
2 fingers. Talking about pedophilia, and he's like 2 fingers. What a sick fuck. What a sicko.
Man. I'll save that show for Signal.
That's where all the hot conversation happens on our encrypted.
Where deleted scene stills from Demolition Man.
If you want to see Stallone's pecker, I will send it to you on Signal only. I tried to get a
if you want to see the Italian Stallion, Sean will hook you up.
I asked the Prophet. I was like, because he was just like, because we were supposed to do a different movie, and he was like, hey, can you do it Saturday? I was like, no, but like if you want to come on here and do Demolition Man, you're more than welcome. And he just had to work and stuff, so he couldn't make it work. But I was going to make him look at that picture as an initiation. Like you couldn't be on this podcast without that picture randomly showing up somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
It's like now we're bonded as brothers.
Yeah. Well, remember, we saw his in the picture.
What's that?
We saw his on a picture. It was on a floppy disk. Real shit. Real shit.
Real shit.
2000s, scary times.
Actually, Prophet had a good note about the movie though. He was just like, he's like, you know, because he decided, he just wrote me like his little thought he had. He's like, I don't have a chance to watch it again, but he's like, if I have a criticism about like some of the things in the movie, this is what it would be. And he was like, you know how he's like rehab to be a knitter?
Yeah.
Like a knitting expert. He's like, why wasn't that ever like utilized in the plot? Like you could have had him like kill Simon Phoenix with fucking some knitting needles or something. Like, you know, and then I like piggybacking off of that, I was like, yeah, because if you're talking about these two guys that have been rehabilitated, quote unquote, in extremely different ways, like Spartan to be like more like soft or whatever, for them to, and it puts Spartan at a disadvantage because, you know, Simon Phoenix is like, you know, kill dude central because he's been given all these skills and information. Yeah, maybe it would have been interesting to actually have that be part of like the conflict and then have that be like something he has like in his pocket or something. Maybe it's something that helps him out of a jam. Maybe he's able to stab him, or maybe he's able to break something on the arm that he's stuck in. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, actually incorporate it.
Another subtle commentary of like, you know, state-forced rehabilitation programs or course corrections. You know, don't work. We are who we are. Fuck you, Prophet.
No, but I thought I was
like a knob needle or whatever the hell they call it, the hook, you know, like doing something with that. I mean, yeah, that could have been cool. It could have been cool. Well, hey, well, you know what? He did make Bullock the sweater.
No, but it's just used as a joke. It's used as a joke twice, right? Like it gets brought up, and then he knits her the sweater, and that's like it.
Yeah.
But you could have incorporated that, I think, in a way that like it's a callback. Like it's both funny. Right. And it's also a reference to something we've already established, because we've established something that we just kind of don't do anything with. And this is what I was saying about.
It was to let us know, like, how, because it gave Spartan the idea, like, wait, this was what I was reprogramming for, what was Phoenix reprogrammed for, and that's how. Like,
that's true.
That was all about.
Fair enough.
Could have done more with it. Like, I get that.
Yeah, but you could. Yeah, and I agree with you. Yeah, but it's there just for plot function and for a couple throwaway jokes, right? Because it encourages them, like you said, them to
look into throwaway jokes. There's no throwaway jokes in Demolition Man. Everyone serves his purpose.
Everyone is a home run.
That tire. But how about, I can't believe we haven't talked about this freaking other callback to that time. Like, we got a No Cure for Cancer-esque, like, short, bad monologue from Dennis Leary in there.
Oh, I know. And I think he improv that as well, which is another, it's actually a moment that kind of takes me out of the movie. Because it's like
it's not in line with, like, with the world or whatnot, and then just even with his rants, you know, you're talking about like smoking a cigar the size of Cincinnati, like that shit went away at the big one in 2010, man. What about your reference? Use a different reference. No.
Well, that's what he would have been of an age where he wouldn't have experienced like this concept of the 20th century that he's like so pining for. But at the same time, though, then you have Sandra Bullock's character who's like a 20th century nut who knows all about it. So I don't know, like, you know, because the underground people are basically, they're like libertarians.
Yeah.
And then you got your wokesters up on the surface, mucking everything up.
Yeah.
Well, because it's interesting because, like, obviously the reaction. Like, political correctness was obviously like a slow creep thing. It starts in the late 80s and kind of works its way through the 90s. But it was a little bit different, though, because it was more pushed by, like, you know, the religious right and stuff. Like, because it just like the race politics and all the things we deal with today really weren't that present. Like, they really kind of shied away from it. It was all about like sexual liberation.
Yeah.
I remember the 90s being about like women showing your boobs. Like, that's. Like, to me, that's almost like what the 90s felt like when I go look back on it in terms of like you watch like MTV or something like that. It was all about just like women taking their sexual agency back.
Yeah.
And yeah.
We didn't have a problem with
that. No problems here. It was good for us.
Yeah, no, we're big time feminists. All about it.
I'm a third wave feminist from the 1974 era. No, but it's just, but like the world that is created out of this is like an amalgamation of that, right? It's an amalgamation of kind of like the religious right, but also that creep of the political correctness. Because those, like, kind of critical race theory, those things were not like, they didn't have a name for them, but they were kind of out there a little bit, a little bit. I feel like there was actually a social effort to try to move away from the concept of like tribalism based on your skin color or whatever. Like that's like what every movie was about. That's what the music was about. That's what MTV was all about. Like this, and not this kind of grievance culture, I suppose, that gets kind of pushed on people today. But but the future that they live in is just like kind of what we deal with today, where everybody's kind of like, in a very broad sense, like this idea of just sterilization. Like, you're not allowed to be sexy. You're not allowed to have fun. You're not allowed to joke with each other. You're not allowed to tease each other. You're not allowed to do anything that anybody might ever find offensive. You shouldn't be swearing. You shouldn't be doing whatever. You know what I mean?
You can't eat salt. You can't smoke a cigarette. You can't do it.
Yeah. Give me a Marlboro.
What?
What's a Marlboro? Cigarette. I know. I hear you, buddy.
Yo. So. 3 seashells, so they like reusable?
I think they're disposable. They gotta be disposable. Because you would have to wash them. Covered in shit.
Right.
Now maybe
that's more advanced than like toilet paper.
Okay. Maybe there's sanitation abilities. Maybe you scoop your poo and you pull out the poo or whatever how it's done, and you throw it in a box that sanitizes it or whatever. I don't know.
Do they? That's one thing though. Like my criticism of it is just like or maybe it's not. Maybe it's left better, unexplained, because now we can still talk about it and wonder.
I think I was actually watched the movie with the commentary, and they don't even know. They were just thought it was funny. They thought it was funny. They're like, we need him. We need a beat where he feels like like a fish out of water, even more about like this basic thing.
Right.
Like the society has changed so much, he doesn't even know how to wipe his own ass. Like it's a joke, right? But it's a joke they use a lot in the movie. It comes back. It's actually one of the final lines of the movie. So you got to tell me, you explain these 3 seashells things to me. Like that's how you ended your movie after your big Hollywood kiss. He's just like, listen, we're gonna do some fluid exchanges, but also my ass is filthy. I'm getting a rash.
One of my favorite lines, Stallone lines in the film. Well, what are you doing? Breaking the law.
Oh, dude, there's a lot of good lines in this movie.
Kiss. Oh man. But yeah, no, I saw someone. I can't credit the right person who said though, but they're like, oh my god. The future turned into a place ran and produced completely by MSNBC.
That's pretty good.
I think the Nostalgic Critic. It was Nostalgic Critic.
Right? Oh, the Nostalgic Critic, yeah. I saw that he did one, but I didn't watch it because I know there's a lot of sketches in his stuff. So I just didn't get around to watching it because I was like, I don't have time. I gotta watch the commentary. I gotta see it from the horse's mouth, Paul.
Busy man. I tell you.
Another great line of the movie: "We're police officers. We're not trained to handle this kind of violence."
Delivered by the Schneider.
Yeah, he's killing it here.
He's also killed that.
I can't believe. I mean, he must have just had a good time with Stallone. Stallone must have been like, "Hey man, you're funny. Like I like being around you." Because he fucking he puts him in Judge Dredd and he's like arguably the co-lead of the movie.
Yeah, no, I remember. Yeah, he got a lot of screen time in that one. But man, I don't know. He probably did make him laugh.
He had to have. Which I'm sure maybe Rob Schneider's a fun dude to be around. I'm not saying that he's not. Yeah. Who am I to say? I watched Bruce Deuce Gigolo, whatever the fuck it was called, just like everybody else, and we all thought it was funny. 1999 or whenever it came out.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Snipes, the last thing I saw Snipes in was that, oh god damn it, the Eddie Murphy remake, or not remake, but it was like that fucking sequel to.
Oh, did you watch Coming to America?
Yeah, that's what it was, dude. Yeah. Oh, well, dude. So normally it's not common for me to put something on to go to sleep to, but I couldn't go to sleep. I fucking turned it off. But I will say, the only part that I did like before I shut it off was the introduction of Snipes from the other side.
Yeah.
The most well-hung man in all of Africa.
He is by like a wide margin the best part of that movie.
It's probably not better than the Snipes scene.
It doesn't, Paul. It really didn't. It's awful. It's fucking. I was embarrassed for everybody involved. I'm not a big Coming to America, even the original fan. Like I was like, yeah, it's all right. It's kind of like it's okay. I think it's a lesser of the Eddie Murphy movies of the era, but I was just like, ugh, really bad. Check out my review on Zoobox.
Yeah, Amazon. I remember reading something that was like #1 or whatever.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think anything that's going to have like Eddie Murphy making a sequel to a very popular movie, it's got to be because it was supposed to go to the theaters because of COVID, and then Amazon bought it and they just put it on Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
You're looking at the future, everybody.
Yeah.
In the future, that's how it's going to go down.
Air circular 5s, and then have VR6, which is like a weird thing, right? So that Oculus thing ties in, the Facebook or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
I got this guy that my place of employment, who I kind of live vicariously through a lot of other stupid shit. But one of the things that he tells me about is that there's these dating apps on Oculus where you just go in and you go in and you talk to people and stuff like in any setting and stuff like that. He's going on talking about it. He'll go on for like hours on end. He gets out, discombobulated. Oh god damn, no. It's like a freaking fell in love, got ghosted, and then got back together, and then broke up with somebody, like deep emotional connection with somebody
in VR.
Like they're fucked up, like legitimately fucked up about it actually happened.
Well, right? Because it's
never actually met or like seen this person.
Well, it's the extension. I mean, this happens to people all the time that are kind of like insular people. They like hang out and they get in communities and they'll talk on voice chat or they'll talk over text and they fall in love. They like each other. They develop relationships that way without ever actually seeing each other. VR is going to add this extra step though, because you're in a virtual room with somebody. You're looking at their avatar. You're not actually looking at them. It's like taking something like Second Life and blowing it up.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it is, right? I mean, but they even just beyond that though, like there's VR produced porno. I don't know what it's like. I don't know how they're doing it, but there's porno that's in V. You could go watch in VR and look around.
Yeah, that's something.
I'm telling you, someday it's gonna happen. I gotta see.
Still my 11-year-old's Oculus, and then
yeah. Well, then you can't though, because you can't see. You wouldn't like. How would you know if somebody was coming? No, not like that.
Well, actually, there's like one set where you go and it just shows everything around you. It's happening, but I mean, yeah, but you're right. You wouldn't know. You're screwed. Don't do it.
Imagine just sitting there, just fucking like cranking it, like totally into it, like and then you like cut to outside, fucking like your kids and your wife are there, and they're like, Dad. Like your fucking shorts, your fucking dad shorts, your golf shorts or whatever the fuck you wear, like down around your ankles, your shoes are still on. You're wearing that polo. I can see it now. You got socks on and shit. But hey, at least you wouldn't be getting STDs. And that's why they have the VR sex in Demolition Man.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe we should go that way.
Maybe we should go that route. Yeah, I like actually another one of my
scene, right? We're talking about like little nuggets that they put in place there that put that world they live in more context. But they even talked about how even when they procreate, it gets screened, scrutinized, and then approved for dissemination, and they to actually go forward with it.
Yeah, you have to have a license,
right?
And yeah, so which is probably genetically selected. It's like people of a certain genetic line or no defects, whatever, right?
Right. So, and it kind of goes on to, and then Huxley, character off of the Brave New World, and then you got Snipes and one of his liners when they're at the museum. There's a Brave New World. He's got the gun, like the new, what's a historic gun for the time, but like was a new gun, 20th, whatever, just like the Brave New World.
He's such a ham. Yo, man, isn't this the future? Where's the laser guns? Where's the laser guns? What do I need? Batteries? Fucking Radio Shack around here? Yeah, where's the battery store at? Where's Radio Shack?
By a bunch of pussies.
Going back to like when they introduce all of the supervillains that he unfreezes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where are they? Where are they? Where are they for the rest of the movie?
Well, a lot of them got killed in the sewer scene.
That's what you would assume, but I don't remember seeing any of them really die. Actually, I know for a fact that Jesse Ventura is one of the dudes at the table because you see him in the wide shot. He and Stallone.
Dr. Grota or whatever.
The what?
He shoots the bad guy.
Yeah.
The main bad.
Yeah, and he and Stallone actually had a fight that they filmed that was cut out of the movie. Apparently, when they go to the cryo prison place at the end of the movie for the big showdown, like Stallone was like gonna have to go through like a gauntlet of bad guys. Like him and Sandra Bullock take out two of them when they first get there before he knocks her out. But apparently he was gonna have to fight like a couple more. Or they filmed it. They actually filmed it. That footage exists out there. So I say release the full cut of Demolition Man. I need to see it. Yeah. I want to see the Jesse Ventura fight because I don't think it's ever been put out like deleted scenes or anything like that. So
let's get this Zack Snyder version of Demolition Man
in black and white.
Let's make Christmas come early. Let's make it happen. We get some going. You know, we'll get it popping. Yeah. I mean, we're at such a shitty point in entertainment. I feel where they're just remaking everything. So why not? This will be par for the course.
Well, they did.
Demolition Man, dude. You know what we watched today? Fucking another follow up to the fucking Mighty Ducks, whatever. Like another one. Like this is the thing with like this like Disney Empire. Like nothing will die. They have shit. Dude, not only do they have like all different types of archives now of like superheroes like we never even heard of that they can go on for like a century.
Yeah.
But you got like spin-offs of shit. You get that like One Dimension. They got another like Winter Soldier and whatever the fuck the flying dude.
Yeah.
They got the Mighty Ducks thing going on. It's like
did the Mighty Ducks thing start?
It was coming out. What's that?
It hasn't come out yet, right? The Mighty Ducks thing.
It has came out there. And we watched it, and it was straight to the numbers, hit you in the feels. And if you want to sit down, turn your mind off, have a fun time with kids.
The Mighty Ducks thing is out there.
Yes.
The new one.
Yes.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
No, I know it's. And I know. And didn't they bring the entire like a lot of the old cast back for the first episode?
Not
yet.
I'm sure somebody fucking put all the.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Yeah, it's gonna happen. They brought back most of the old cast, the ones that aren't addicted to crack, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, Goldberg. You know Goldberg, the goalie, the fat kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like a drug addict. Is a drug addict. I don't know. I hope he's gotten better.
Yeah,
he was like a crackhead. I feel it's awful because Disney child actors, for some reason they got a tough time becoming adults. I wonder why, but
yeah.
What was going on those studio lots? Okay, we got Nickelodeon full of perverts in the 90s. Fucking Disney. Who knows what happened? Who knows?
People made it out of the Nickelodeon, right? Was it? Fuck.
Amanda Bynes went crazy.
Yeah. Oh, no, the Good Burger guy. Good Burger guys. Keenan. One of them made play. Huh?
Keenan.
Yeah,
he's on SNL.
Yeah, he's on SNL now. But whatever happened to the other guy?
Crackhead.
See?
No, I think something. Actually, I do think something like that. Drugs, alcohol related. Something happened. Yeah. Drank too much orange soda, my friend.
Something. At least our man Snipes. He's so badass that drugs can't kill him. But tax evasion. I mean, that fucking
his greatest enemy, tax evasion.
Yeah, but you think about it though, nothing can take down fucking Blade, man. Like, you're what telling me that guy didn't have like the freaking top notch like blow at that time. Fuck. He had it all. Like Whitney, he was probably doing with Whitney Houston too, man. This is Blade. This is Blade. Snipes we're talking about, man.
He's like
too rich for crack. He said like crack is whack. I'm too rich for that.
Yeah, I remember that. Yes. Fucking no, but Wesley Snipes is kind of the last one of these guys, of these very like egomaniac action stars that were like divas. Like Wesley Snipes was a fucking diva. Even on the set of Demolition Man, he was a diva. He had done some stuff before this, like New Jack City, Passenger 57. There was a couple other like action movies that came out before this as well. Like he was so insistent on like doing his own action scenes that they would film it, he would go through it, and then they would wrap him and they would send him home and they would wait, and then they would do it over with the stuntman, so they would have what they needed. Because Wesley Snipes was like, "No, man, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it." So just to appease them, they're just burning money, tens of thousands of dollars, just to ease ease the mind of Wesley Snipes, to coddle Wesley Snipes so he could go back to his trailer feeling like he had done his job that day.
Yeah.
Another cool thing about Wesley Snipes, because he's a real deal martial artist, he had to actually slow down because they shot it with not old, but traditional film cameras, 24 frames a second. He would move too fast. He would show up blurry on camera.
No kidding.
Yeah. Jet Li used to have to do the same thing. I believe even Bruce Lee had to do the same thing as well back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he was one of them. One of these elite, very fast guys.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's, I don't think a lot of people know that he was legitimate or is a legitimate martial artist.
I wonder what it would be like. I wonder if he could actually, even back then in his prime, do you think he could have like actually fought somebody? Like say somebody that's like of equal status, because I think he's like a black belt in one of the disciplines. I can't remember exactly. Maybe Taekwondo, maybe Jiu-Jitsu.
Well, yeah, like in a formal match setting with somebody equally trained. You're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
do you think he was a soft boy by this time? Because he's a Hollywood boy at this point. He's in movies.
He's 31 at the time of this film.
Right? I know, which is crazy because like he's like for a long time. I just never. He just looks the same age for like 20 years.
Yeah.
Because black don't crack. Everybody. I don't know if you know this, but it doesn't.
No.
So for like, there's like up until Snipes is in his like mid 50s, he kind of looks the same. Like I was surprised how young he was. For some reason, I thought he was older. I was like, oh, he must be older.
Right.
He made some of those early movies like New Jack City and stuff, the things that kind of made him famous. Like he was like 24 years old. I was like, wow, that's crazy.
That's crazy.
Because he has like this older, he just has like an adult presence, like you and I at 24 ain't going out making a tough guy gangster movie. Like that's not going to happen. Like nobody's going to buy that shit.
No. Nah. It was like one of the best like cop series ever. HBO on The Wire. The guy who took over East Baltimore, whatever. He was another big martial artist, but very young at the time when he took over that as well. I think he was in his early 20s too. That just made me think about that random factoid. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. Yeah. It's definitely glad I came back to this one, man. I really, it was so.
It's just such a good time. Like it's a fun movie to watch.
It was a good time, man, and it just, I just for my own nostalgia purposes, it's associated with a lot of good times, with this, growing up watching it, and then and just watching it again as an adult because I've seen it since the late '90s, early 2000s. I'm like, I just appreciate more, And I know we've talked about this in the past, but it's just like revisiting some movies, man. Doing this whole thing with you, man, it's just been such a treat sometimes. This was one, man, definitely one.
I think we're gonna have to do it since we did Demolition. We got to do Blade. Got to do the first Blade because that would be super. Because I'm pretty sure I know we knew each other, but I used to watch Blade all the time.
I got grounded because of Blade.
Did you really?
Yes, I wasn't allowed to watch that. And then
did you borrow it from me or something?
Yeah, I forgot how it came up, but
I used to have the VHS.
I know. I forgot how it came up, but I got out and I wasn't allowed to hang out. One of the many times that happened.
Out of all the things, like, you couldn't watch Blade.
I know. Blade. And it was only because of that like open scene when they're going in to see Dorf and he's getting that Hummer. No, you can't.
Oh, it's well.
Not about decapitations or not about all the blood. No.
There's like literally
someone getting a Hummer in.
There's a 2-second shot of the dude. It's not Steven Dorff. It's like his lackey.
Yeah.
It's that ginger guy, that Irish guy that was in. He was in Gotham. Remember Gotham?
Yeah.
He's Bullock, I think, in Gotham. He's been in tons of shit. But that's him. That's like an early role for that guy because he's got fucking cornrows and shit.
Speaking of Steven Dorff, I just watched that fucking where he plays like that UFC guy, where it ends up fighting his son. The fuck is that?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
It was someone like released to Amazon. Steven Dorff plays like some like it's like kind of like a knockoff like Conor McGregor. Whatever. Yeah. It was made by the same people who did a American History X. It came out. You probably haven't heard. It was terrible. Steven Dorff he's a cool dude.
Actually, Steven Dorff, I like Steven Dorff. He's got an interesting energy, even in Blade. Like he kind of shouldn't work as a counterpoint to Wesley Snipes in that. And the ending of Blade is fucking dumb. But like he's actually, I actually like him in that. And I've always just had maybe I could take it easy on him. I don't know. I'm just like, yeah, I like Steven Dorff, sure.
He's cool in True Detective.
Probably the best thing when he's basically is just playing Jack Nicholson. Yes. Like when he's in his old man makeup and stuff in True Detective season 3, he looks just like an old Jack Nicholson.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah. But yeah, I really enjoyed revisiting this. I didn't have as much distance as you did, obviously, but I think it's surprising like how well it holds up as an action vehicle. It is better than it has probably any right to be, and I think that's a lot of things. I think it's kind of the attention to detail with the world. I think the look of the movie is really awesome. It had some really great production designers, even people that went back that had worked on like Blade Runner. Actually, the guy who did this also did the production design for the Super Mario Brothers movie.
Okay.
FYI, and which is interesting because it looks a lot like the Super Mario Brothers movie.
Yeah,
it does. It looks a lot like it. Just like when Elliot Goldenthal does the music for this, and 2 years later, it's in Batman Forever. It's the same music cues. But like, it's just all of these...
Brothers, man. Real quick, rest in peace, Bob Hoskins.
Oh, Bob Hoskins, dude. People don't respect Bob Hoskins enough. Bob Hoskins is a fucking great actor. Go back and watch like some of his stuff from the 80s and stuff, like the long hard goodbye, or I think it's the long hard goodbye. He did some UK gangster movies like in the 80s. And he's so fucking good.
Who Framed Roger Rabbit, dude?
Oh, he's so good in that. That would actually that might be a fun one to do at some point. Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Yeah.
Because that's a fun movie. It's another movie that's like way better and way more sophisticated than it probably has any right to be. Yeah, even though like the cinematographer is great, he did some great stuff. He's cinematographer Excalibur, Legend, Hamlet, the Kenneth Branagh Hamlet from the mid '90s. He also did Alien 3. Wow, Cliffhanger. Black Beauty, Executive Decision.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. But yeah, it's a cool movie. I think that and I know that people generally like Demolition Man. It's not like one that's like, oh, it really needs a critical reassessment. People got to come back to Demolition Man. They'll miss the boat. Because I think most people you would ask would be like, do you like Demolition Man? They'd probably be like, yeah. Demolition Man's cool, but how cool though? So you got to get like autistic about it.
Like, do you get the satire in it, or do you just think explosions are cool?
Well, that's the thing. It's like the bro philosopher movie because it does not get into anything with any real depth. Like you're like, how do these pieces actually go together? But I think it's just more thoughtful. Like even from down to like remember when he crashes the car?
Yeah.
Break. You Mickey Mouse piece of shit. And he goes into the thing. And then all that foam and stuff comes out. Like that was a cool future movie touch.
Right.
Like, that's a cool piece of future tech. Oh, like this foam's gonna come and like surround your body and make it so you don't actually experience any trauma. Kind of a cool touch. Things like, and the movie is littered with stuff like that. These little cool little things. Almost too many to name. So yeah, I would say if you've never seen Demolition Man and you are in the right mindset, you like Stallone movies, you got to see Demolition Man. You like Snipes movies, you like Wesley Snipes.
Ooh,
one of his best like on-screen characters, because he's just having a blast. He's just having a good time. It's apparent that he's having a good time. It makes the movie. He has some of the best line deliveries of any character he's ever played, including Blade.
Some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill. I don't know, man. That's pretty.
My favorite Blade line is when it's in Blade 1 and he like jumps through the window into the hospital and he grabs the girl that ends up being the girl that's in the rest of the movie because she got bit, so he can like slow down her transition or whatever, and all the security guards start shooting him. He's like, "Motherfucker, you out of your goddamn mind?" Pretty awesome. I'm not saying it as awesome as Wesley Snipes does, obviously, but come on, it's great. But yeah, even if you know what, even if you don't want to watch the entirety of Demolition Man, just watch the first 10 minutes. It's awesome. Like, honestly, in a vacuum, probably my favorite part of the movie. I don't know why. It's just so everything is cranked up to 11. Everything is crazy. Everything is fucking. It is the height of absurdity.
Like the open scene of like a fucking video game that you're going to get in, right?
Yeah.
Behind, like,
actually, yes.
So, like you get in and like you're engaged, like, yeah, let's go, let's do this. And then,
well, it was funny. Actually, the director even made a note. He's like, yeah, we kind of thought about it like a James Bond movie because you have like a sequence that happens before the titles. So, like, kind of like the shock factor. Usually it's like an action set piece will happen. He's like, and we just wanted to do our version of that. Which is like, this is like, it feels like a comic book movie. Like, it feels like that. It has that kind of that tone, that look, that style, especially like the performances from Stallone and Snipes and everybody else involved. It has a heightened sense of itself, and it's self-aware. It's not like, if you want to watch a version or a kind of a Demolition Man-esque movie that does not have self-awareness that Stallone was also in, go watch Cobra. It's like a 1986 movie, Cobra. It's like Stallone playing the most badass dude on the planet with no like hint of self-awareness whatsoever. He just thinks he uses a pair of scissors to cut pizza at one point because he's so badass. Okay.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I would check out Cobra. Cobra's not good, but it's a fun movie to watch. But
yeah, but I wrote down Tango and Cash, so why not fucking Cobra?
I think you're like me, where you kind of enjoy the easy to watch, like mediocre action thrillers and stuff. Mm-hmm. I love that stuff. Like, I don't talk about it very often on the channel, but I watch those all the time. If you have Amazon Prime, that has a deep bench of all the movies that used to be a blockbuster that you were like, oh, I'm gonna watch that someday when you were a kid. Like, all of these. James Woods. You know who James Woods is, right? Jimmy Woods. Okay, that guy was in like 100.
He's still alive, I think, but the James Woods.
He's still alive. Oh yeah, he's a Twitter troll.
James Woods.
Salute. But he was in like 30 of the most like mediocre thrillers in like the 80s and early 90s, and I had never even heard of half of them. I've been watching them. Been a really great time. It's not as good as though which I just got in the mail today, everybody. John Carpenter's Vampires.
Oh shit.
Remember that?
Another one we watched all the time.
All the time.
Oh man.
Jack Crow.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Well, do you have any final thoughts? What out of 10? Out of 10 stars, Paul, what do you give Demolition Man?
Just like in movies in general, or this specific genre?
Let's keep it. Yeah, this genre. This genre
gets a fucking hard 8.5.
Yeah, I would give it an 8. I would give it a hard 8 for sure. Relative to like the Stallone movies that are like it, yes. Like I'm talking like Rambo 2, Cliffhanger, stuff like that. Although Cliffhanger is pretty good. Cliffhanger is a fun movie as well.
Yeah, but
not as kind of more forgettable because it's just kind of more generic. Like terrorists are taking over this thing, and this guy's got to stop it. But anyways, thank you, Paul. I appreciate you coming on.
Always
and we'll see you all next time on Zoobox Goes to the Movies. If you'd like to know more about Zoobox, go check out the stuff in the description. Leave a comment. Did you grow up watching Demolition Man? Where do you rank Demolition Man in the filmography of Sylvester Stallone or Wesley Snipes? Like, where does it land for you? You know, I would say, for me, for specifically Wesley Snipes, I would probably go Blade over Demolition Man.
Yeah.
But I really like Simon Phoenix. I really like that character. And I would have, like I said when we first started, I kind of would love to watch the movie that takes place at the beginning of the dystopia, the incoming dystopia, where John Spartan and Simon Phoenix are kind of just battling in the burnt out streets of LA. I kind of would love to see that movie. I think that would be amazing. Somebody should make a cartoon for me so I can watch it. Anybody, goodbye. See you next time. Goodbye. Nice seeing you guys. Farewell. That tequila's kicking in.
Yeah.